The Leominster City Council meeting is funded in part by DeCarolis Insurance Agency at www.decarolisinsuranceagency.com and by Avidia Bank at www.avidiabank.com.
Time is now 6:45, and we have a public hearing scheduled on 40-23. If the Chairwoman of Public Service would like to begin.
Thank you very much. My name is Sue Shalafu Zephyr. I'm the chairperson of the Public Service Committee. Councilor Claire Frieda is also on the committee, as well as Ward 1 Councilor Bill Brady. So tonight, this is a public hearing on petition 40-23. Massachusetts Electric Company, DBA National Grid, requests permission to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures along and across the following public way. Spruce Street. National Grid to install one solely owned pole on Spruce Street, beginning at a point approximately 450 feet west of the center line of the intersection of Whitney Street and continuing approximately 20 feet in a south direction. Install pole number 4-5, approximately 50 feet west of pole number 4 for new transformer bank to temporarily feed 31 Spruce Street. Location approximately is shown on the plan. So this is the public hearing tonight, and I would like to know if there's anybody here from National Grid that would like to explain what this petition is all about. You can step right up to that microphone, sir. Oh, no, it's outside. It's outside, yep. Okay. Thank you. We need your name.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Z Shu. I'm with National Grid. So I kind of want to go over this temporary service that we have. Mm-hmm. So from my drawings, I think it's actually pole 3-5. I could confirm that with you guys later on, but it's still the correct location. And the purpose of this is to feed a commercial building. And even though this is a transformer bank, so it's going to be 3 transformers on the pole, it is temporary. So once they are done using it, we will come back and remove all of the equipment that we installed. So we're going to install 50 feet, give or take, of quadruplex, and the metering is up to the customer. That's essentially what I have. Do I have any questions?
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Zhu. So this is is this for commercial expansion?
Yes.
Okay. And you said it was is it 3 transformers?
Yes, ma'am. Transformer banks are 3 transformers together.
3 transformers together, okay. And you said this is temporary. Do you know how long it's required?
This depends on the customer. We don't make them tell us before building it, but once they are finished with it, I can't imagine it taking over 6 months or a year. But again, I could confirm that with you guys and circle back in via email or anything. And once it's done, it will be removed, correct?
So the transformers will be removed as well as the pole?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So everything is going?
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's what I wanted to confirm.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go to my committee first. Council Frieda, do you have any questions? No, I'm all set. You're all set? How about you, Council Brady?
Just a very quick one on 3 transformers. Is that going to provide 3-phase power?
Yes, sir. 3-phase power.
That's all I needed to know.
Oh, okay, good. All right, I'll go to the council. Is there anybody on the city council who'd like to ask any questions? about this particular location or use? No? No? All right, I'll ask the audience, although don't think we have anybody here, but for the public record, I will ask, is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak in favor of this petition? Anybody else who would like to speak in opposition to this petition? If not, seeing no questions, and I think that we will close the public hearing this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public hearing, if the chairwoman of Ways and Means would like to begin.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is 38-23, North Central Mass Launch LLC, doing business as Launch Leominster. Request a bowling alley license for Launch Leominster, 118 Commercial Road, Leominster, Mass. I don't see anyone here from Launch Leominster. And I will ask if there's anybody present who would like to speak in favor of or against 38-23. And for a second time, if there is anyone who would like to speak for or against 38-23. And for a third and final time, 38-23. Anybody who'd like to speak in favor of or against? Hearing none, I will open it up for questions. Councilor Shalfo-Zephyr.
Through the chair to the chairwoman. My understanding is that they already have the bowling alley open, right? Okay. Right, so I know that we don't have any more bowling alleys because Mason's closed, so I'm all for it, to tell you the truth. And I've heard that the place is a really fun location for kids.
Yeah.
So that's just a comment. It's too bad they're not here to answer questions, but.
I would like, I wish they would have been here as well, but I think they're up and running and doing well so far.
They are, yeah.
It's nice to see cars down in the parking lot. There again, I can tell you, the entire application will come up later in the meeting. Everything is in order, everything is ready to go, so I think we'll be able to vote on that tonight. Anyone else have any questions, concerns? Seeing none, I will ask that the public hearing be closed. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilor Frida?
I don't disagree with granting this down the road, but we've been pretty strict in the past about people showing up when they're requesting something from the council. I think it's pretty important that they be here to answer some questions. I would suggest we leave the hearing open and request that they come to the next meeting.
Well, as I said, thank you. My opinion is that they're up and running. They're doing well. We haven't had any comments, anything come in from any of our constituents that I know of, or anybody that's from the city of Leominster. So it would be my position to leave to close the public hearing this evening and vote on this tonight. Mr. President, I'd ask you to check with other members of my committee.
Okay. Councilor Arger, do you have any issues with closing the public hearing?
I tend to agree with the councilor at large because, my grandchildren were down there. It's a great place. We need it. But I think it shows some disrespect to the council by not even showing up and opening up the bowling alleys before they're even granted the license. So I'd like to keep the public hearing open.
Okay. Councilor Shalfo-Zephyr?
I think we should treat people consistently, and I think that that's the way that we've really treated people in the past, is that, we do ask that they get their license before they, open whatever it is that they're going to open. So I agree with the councilor at large across from me that we might want to give this a little further time until they can come down and talk to us. And I agree. My grandchildren have been there several times, and they've had a really good time. So it isn't anything, against the business or how they're conducting it, but I think it really is a process that we should be consistent in the way that we treat every applicant. So that would be my comment.
My only question, and perhaps Council President Cormier would know better than this, is this going to hold them up? We're not going to interfere with, if we leave the public hearing open, it's not going to...
They're already operating, so
Okay,
unless there was a violation and they were brought in for a hearing and we were to take action, I mean, they're operating, so
okay.
no one has asked them to cease and desist, so. Yeah, right. He didn't even realize that they require a license for this type of an operation, so. yeah.
Okay,
But it's not gonna hurt anything, yeah,
okay.
if you'd like.
Council Frida, sorry.
I'm confused. I haven't been there yet. I don't have any little ones anymore. But are they, when you're saying they're operating already, are they operating the bowling alley already? How are they operating the bowling alley if we haven't licensed them?
I'm not sure, and that's what I'm asking now, so perhaps it is a good idea to keep the public hearing
I
open.
mean, it could be a simple oversight, but that's all the more reason to probably have them come in and have a discussion.
Just so you guys know, I sent him the letter because I heard that he had a bowling alley because he wasn't licensed and he did not know. So that's why it's here. So he's been operating with it for a little bit.
Most of the
That's where it
time it
came
is an
from.
oversight, but I
Yeah.
think that's all the more importance for them to come in and have a discussion.
Fair enough. So, Mr. President, I believe that we're going to leave the public hearing open.
Yeah, just a quick question on that. How were they granted an occupancy permit if they didn't have all their licenses in place? I know, just from experience, the city holds people accountable. So I agree for consistency, but I'm just wondering where the disconnect was. How did they get an occupancy permit if they don't have their licensing?
And I think that'll leave us open. By leaving the public hearing open, we can ask those questions, get a little more information, and we can invite Mr. Emma down to the next meeting. If
That would also be a question for the building inspector as well, if you'd like
Yes.
to refer it to him.
we can refer it to the
Right,
building inspector.
he's the
as
one
well.
that would have given him occupancy permit, yeah. He should have, somebody should have known that as well in City Hall,
Council Frida?
I'll
Oh,
defer
Council
to
Deacon.
Council next to me.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we ask some more questions and welcome them as they've started off with a big hit in the city. But also, there's got to be some answering in regards to how they're doing, what they're doing, and how they are protecting themselves. So I just think it's important that I don't think we should rush on this. I think we should definitely relook at this, and hopefully they can come in and talk to us. But that's all I have to say. Thank you.
No, I think you're right. So I guess to sum it up, Mr. President, we're going to ask that the public hearing remain open with a referral to the building inspector and with a request to Mr. Emma to come down and meet with us. And I'm going to leave this open so that if there is something that comes up in the interim, that we get notice of it, because I'm surprised as well. How are they up and running and they didn't, if they just didn't understand it was the bowling alley portion of it that had to come before us, so we can straighten that out.
Okay.
Thank you.
And do you have a date and time we'll continue this to? Oh,
Council Frida?
Yeah, I'm just curious, if you sent them a letter, is there a cease and desist on the bowling alley part of it until they get licensed?
No.
So is there an enforcement there? So I'm not looking to give them a hard
Yeah,
time.
no, so
but
I sent them
we've
a
had
letter.
people that
Yeah.
we've held up until they come in and talk to us.
Yeah, so I sent them a letter after going there and realizing that they had one because I was never informed they were going to have one. And I just let them know that what the proper process should have been. The building department knows, and they did not do a cease and desist.
Maybe we could get a copy of that letter that you sent them before the
I can get
next
a
meeting,
copy
so
too.
we know
Yeah.
what was said.
No problem.
Thank you, Counselor Frida. So do we have a date and time?
I would recommend May 22nd at 6:25 PM.
Okay. All right, we'll vote on that when we go into our
Okay.
meeting, okay, if that's
Yes.
okay?
Yeah.
All right. And Madam Clerk, if you want to get me the sign-up sheet, although I'm sure no one signed up. We have a minute, but that's all it's going to take. All right. We are now going to hold the public forum. The public forum is an opportunity for any member of the audience to speak on any matter specifically listed on the council agenda. Speakers will be asked to come to the microphone and state their formal name and address, along with identifying the specific item or items they wish to address. Each speaker is respectfully asked to keep their comments within a 2-minute time frame. The council will not be responding to or answering any questions. However, at the discretion of the council president, clarification may be given. At this point, no one has formally signed up, but I will ask, would any member of the audience like to speak at the public forum? Once again, would any member of the audience like to speak at the public forum? And for the third and final time, would any member of the audience like to speak at the public forum? Seeing none, I declare the public forum closed. It is now exactly 7 o'clock, so I am going to call the meeting for May 8th, 2023 to order. For the Leominster City Council, will you all please stand and join me for a salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am now going to take a roll call of the honorable members of the Leominster City Council, beginning with Councilor Bedanza. Present. Councilor Cormier.
Present.
Councilor Arnger. Present. Councilor Angelini.
Present.
Councilor Brady.
Present.
Councilor Shalfo Zephyr.
Present.
Councilor Deacon.
Present.
Councilor Frida.
President,
And I am present. There are all 9 members present this evening. Does the Vice President have any records to approve this evening?
I do, Mr. President. I have reviewed the records from April 24th, 2023. I find them to be in good order, and unless any other counselors have any corrections that need to be made, I'd ask them that they be put on record.
Okay.
Counselor Frida, hold on.
thank you. I just happened to look at the information in the folder regarding the public or the informational hearing on National Grid. I'm not sure that these people are with National Grid. I think they were the company that's working for National Grid. Am I correct on that?
So when they
Power and,
when they introduced themselves to me, they identified as working for National Grid. They didn't say that they were a contractor, but I could clarify with them.
yeah, I think they were, and I think we should insert their full names in there so that people, if
Sure.
people look at that.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing was, and it's corrected in today's agenda, the middle fidelity is May 11th, and it's listed as May 8th. So it's actually on May 11th, which
Oh.
kind of passed now, but
I'll update
Right.
that.
But it's right on the agenda this week.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was typed in the minutes wrong, that's all.
So pending those, a couple of corrections, I believe that once those are made, we can place those on the record.
Okay. All right, so we'll wait on those for the next meeting?
Yes.
Just look at them in the final form?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so then, are there any other questions or comments on the minutes so that we can have them fixed, updated, and be ready for next time? Okay, all right, so we'll move right into communications from the mayor, beginning with money orders C-66. Madam Clerk.
C-66, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, request to authorize the City of Leominster to pursue $253,000 through the State Department of Environmental Protection.
And C-66 is referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. First time on the calendar, regular course, please.
C-66 is given regular course. C-67.
C-67, discontinuance of Pioneer Drive extension portion. Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that the City Council of the City of Leominster, on behalf of the city and by virtue of and acting pursuant to Chapter 82, Section 21 of the Massachusetts General Laws, hereby discontinues a portion of Pioneer Drive extension as a public way. The portion discontinued by this vote is shown as proposed Lot 2, containing approximately 5,474 square feet. On plan entitled Plan of Land Orchard Hill Park Drive Extension, dated February 13th, 2023, prepared by Control Point Associates, Inc., 3 sheets, recorded in the Worcester Northern District Registry of Deeds in Plan Book 536, page 18, which discontinuance does not release the sewer line easement that the city has in proposed Lot 2, and further to transfer said proposal Lot 2 from the City Council for public way purposes to the mayor for general municipal purposes and for the purpose of conveyance, and to authorize the mayor to convey said proposed Lot 2 on such terms and conditions and for such consideration as the mayor deems appropriate.
And C-67 is referred to the Chairman of Legal Affairs. Counselor Shalfo-Zephyr, do you have a question?
I do. Not so much a question, but this should really go to city property, shouldn't it? I don't know why it would go to finance.
It's not-
Legal Affairs?
Or legal affairs.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, it's city property.
I don't have a preference. Does anybody have any other input? I'm not concerned about which committee handles it. If no one has any objection, I'll let city property handle it.
Great.
It's not a problem.
Thank you.
Because it's not, yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Makes sense.
So I'll refer this to Council Brady.
Thank you.
Thank you. Reading through this, I'm curious about the language in it. Is that standardized language that we just release this to the mayor? The portion we're talking about, it's like 5,000 square feet. It's more on paper just to delineate. I spoke with both the mayor and the developer. I'm just curious going forward, is this the normal language? Because I don't ever remember seeing something like a carte blanche
Right.
like this.
As far as I know, yeah, I don't know of any. I mean, it's not too often we discontinue a street, you know, but we can get some more information on it if you'd like, you know, but we can
Like I
regular
said,
course it.
I'm just,
All real estate for the city has to be controlled by somebody, a city department or somebody. It
okay,
just can't be, someone has to have control of it.
right, right.
And it would be
I'm
pretty
not sure if
typical
you're
that it would-
understanding my question with the wording.
Yeah, it's released, it's in the, I don't want to get too far into this. It's on the agenda for the first time. But it's put into the jurisdiction of the mayor's office as opposed to somebody else. It has to be with somebody. Because
Okay.
that person,
And-
whoever's in charge of it,
Right.
is the person who disposes of it, if it's ever disposed of.
Sure.
And usually when we surplus land or property that we own, it does, I believe it does go through city property, so it is a good point. It should go to city property. We can regular course it, and you can do your due diligence and,
Sure. So I would do regular course, if you could check with members of the committee.
okay. Do you want any
Todd,
referrals from anyone?
We've already referred this, it's already got approval from the planning board. So I'm thinking it's just,
Did you want me to refer your question to the mayor or to KP?
yeah, to the mayor's office,
Okay.
just for clarification of that. And
Okay.
just going forward, if it's the language we're gonna use, I'm comfortable with it. It's just, I don't wanna start new wording here.
Okay. Councilor Shalfo-Zephyr?
Yeah, through the chair to the Ward 1 Council, I would recommend DPW, just because it references a sewer easement, just to make sure they're okay with it.
Yeah, they've signed off on it.
Oh, they have, okay.
On the,
Okay.
so it's kind of like all set. It's just, my question is the way this is worded.
Okay.
The point's moot, really. It's,
Councilor Councilor Free, did I see your hand as well?
Yeah, I was just good, this doesn't require a public hearing?
No.
Okay, so C-67 is going to be given regular course. We're referring this to the mayor and the DPW, let them weigh in, and we already have a recommendation from the planning board. They already
Yes.
weighed in on this. Okay, all right, so that will be given regular course. Moving on to C-68.
C-68, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, Request that an appropriation of $17,406.50 be made to the Police Department Bulletproof Vest account, the same amount to be transferred from the Excess and Deficiency account.
And C-68 is referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Regular course, please.
C-68 has been given regular course. C-69.
C-69, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $250,000 be made to the Fire Department Public Safety Overtime account, the same to be transferred from the Excess and Deficiency account.
And C-69 is also referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Once again, regular course, please.
C-69 has been given regular course. C-70.
C-70, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $30,000 be transferred to the library's operating account from the following accounts: clerks, $14,000, part-time, $12,000, librarians, $4,000, total $30,000.
And C-70 is referred to the Chairman of Finance as well.
Regular course, please.
C-70 has been given regular course. C-71.
C-71, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $118,572.05 be transferred from the Snow and Ice Overtime account to the Snow and Ice Expense account.
And C-71 is also referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Regular course.
C-71 has been given regular course. C-72.
C-72, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $97,079.62 be made to the Snow and Ice account, the same to be transferred from the Excess and Deficiency account.
C-72 is also referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Once again, regular course.
C-72 has been given regular course. C-73.
C-73, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $23,075 be made to the Street Signs and Fences account, the same amount to be transferred from the Excess and Deficiency account.
And C-73 is also referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Regular course.
C-73 has been given regular course. C-74.
C-74, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $349,430.37 be made to the Opioid Stabilization Fund, the same amount to be transferred from the Excess and Deficiency account.
C-74 is referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Once again, regular course.
C-74 has been given regular course. C-75.
C-75, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that the city dedicate all of the opioid settlement receipts to the Opioid Stabilization Fund established under Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5B, effective for fiscal year 2023, beginning on May 3rd, 2023.
And C-75 is also referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Regular course.
C-75 has been given regular course. C-76.
C-76, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an opioid stabilization fund be established to account for the opioid settlement receipts that the city is receiving under Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5B.
And C-76 is also referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Regular course, please.
C-76 been given regular course. C-77.
C-77, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that Joan Kelly be exempt from the provisions of the Mass General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 20B, Conflict of Interest.
C-77 has also been given regular course. I'm sorry, is also referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Ways and Means.
Chairwoman of Ways and Means, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Regular course.
Okay, C-77 has been given regular course. C-78.
Do you want me to read it in as is?
Yes.
Yeah, please, read it the way it's on the agenda, and then we'll make the amendment.
Okay.
We'll have a motion for an amendment.
C-78, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that a total appropriation of $6,613,919 be made to the fiscal year 2024 Water Department budget, the same amount to be raised/offset by fiscal year 2024 receipts, as authorized by Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E.
Okay, C-78 is referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Mr. President, we're going to ask that this be given regular course. We're going to do three things here. One, give it regular course. Two, set up a hearing date. And three, amend it because there was a clerical error. The amounts for water and sewer, the amounts for water and sewer were reversed. So I'm going to need a motion to amend the amount of C-78 to $6,501,996. Somebody wants to
Okay.
make that
So
motion?
moved.
Councilor Cormier made a motion, seconded. Councilor Shalfo Zephyr, seconded. So we have a motion to amend C-78 to $6,501,996. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of that motion signify in the usual manner. Those opposed by a vote of 9-0, C-78 has now been amended.
Mr. President, I would also ask for a vote to establish a public hearing on May 22nd, 2023 at 6:30 PM.
Okay, so C-78 is going to be given regular course, and we're going to vote to establish a public hearing for May 22nd, 2023 at 6:30 PM. All those in favor of establishing that public hearing signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, that public hearing has been established. C-79, Madam Clerk?
C-79, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requested a total appropriation of $6,501,996 be made to the fiscal year 2024 Sewer Department budget, the same amount to be raised/offset by fiscal year 2024 receipts as authorized by Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E.
And C-79 is referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. Once again, we're going to do three things. Ask that it be given regular course. We're going to need an amendment for the clerical error, and we're going to need to establish a hearing date and time. So I would ask for a motion to amend the amount to $6,613,919.
Okay, do I have a motion? Counselor Angelini, Counselor Shalfo, second. So we have a motion and a second on the floor to amend the amount on C-79 to be $6,613,919. Is there any discussion on that motion? Counselor Frida?
Wouldn't it have just been easier to switch water and sewer on the petition rather than the amounts?
No.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't,
Why?
because it's mentioned twice in the petition instead of once. So
On
it
what?
would be easier to just do it than to talk about it either, too. There's a motion on the floor. Is that, we really need to talk about that, or can we just vote on the motion?
Well, it just seems like it'd be a lot easier than trying to change numbers around.
It'd be a lot easier to just vote on it.
Excuse me?
It'd be a lot easier to just vote on it.
Not necessarily, but we will.
Okay, is there any other discussion? All those in favor of amending C-79 signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, C-79 has been amended. And I will go back to the
We
Chairman
need
of
a-
Finance.
Yeah, we need a public hearing established for May 22nd, 2023 at 6:35 PM is the suggested time.
Okay, so we will give C-79 regular course, and we will vote to establish a public hearing for May 22nd, 2023 at 6:35 PM. All those in favor of establishing that public hearing signify in the usual manner. By a vote of 9-0, the public hearing has also been established. And we will move on to C-80, Madam Clerk.
C-80, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that the fiscal year 2024 budget, which totals $161,872,478 be adopted, $161,426,478 to be raised by fiscal 2024 revenues, $136,000 to be transferred from the Gallagher Building Special Revenue Fund, $60,000 to be transferred from the Cemetery Trust Fund, and $250,000 from overlay regarding attached fiscal year 2024 budget document.
Okay, and C-80 is also referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Mr. President, regular course, and we'll need to establish a public hearing on May 22nd, 2023 at 6:40 PM.
Did we do the other one at 6:40?
No.
We did 6:35.
6:30.
6:30,
6:30,
6:35, 6:40, and the
Six-
bowling alley, 6:25.
Okay, so this is 6:40.
Yep.
Okay, because it's, yeah, okay. All right, so we are going to give C-80 regular course, and we are going to establish a public hearing on May 22nd, 2023 at 6:40 PM. All those in favor of establishing that public hearing signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, C-80's regular course with a public hearing at 6:40 PM.
All three of those, Mr. President, C-78,
Eight.
79, and 80 will be subject to a Finance Subcommittee meeting on Monday, May 15th at 5 o'clock.
Okay. All right, and that will be posted, if not already done so.
I will post it.
Okay, and C-81, Madam Clerk.
C-81, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requested an appropriation of $103,590 be made to the Police Department Replacement Equipment Account, the same amount to be transferred from the Excess and Deficiency Account.
And C-81 is referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. Regular course.
C-81 has been given regular course, and that is all for the finance items. So you're going to be, you and your committee will be going to be quite busy over the next couple of weeks, Mr. Chairman. And moving on
It's that time
to,
of the year.
it's that time of the year, 42-23, Madam Clerk.
42-23, David R. Cormier, Ward 3 Councilor, requests to rename the most northerly portion of Montrose Street between Richard Road and Sawtell Road to Karozowitz Lane.
And 4D2-23 is referred to the Chairman of Legal Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President. First time this has appeared on our calendar. I would ask for regular course, please.
Okay, 42-23 has been given regular course. Moving on to 43-23.
43-23, Paul's Tools, request to renew license to deal secondhand articles, 345 Central Street, Leominster, Mass.
43-23 is referred to the Chairwoman of Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. President. Regular course.
And 43-23 has been given regular course. 44-23.
44-23, Eco ATM LLC, request to renew license to deal secondhand articles, 11 Jungle Road, Leominster, Mass.
44-23 is also referred to the Chairwoman of Ways and Means.
Regular course, please.
44-23 has been given regular course. Moving on to matters before the City Council. We'll begin with a financial report. Mr. Chairman, are you ready to report?
I am. We started the fiscal year on July 1st of 2022 with a balance in the stabilization account of $20,675,366. During the course of the year, we've transferred in $215,655 in interest earnings and another $4 million from free cash, with a resulting balance of $24,891,021. To date, we've transferred out $3,918,923, leaving a resulting balance of $20,972,098, and that is the financial report.
Okay, is there any questions or comments on the financial report? Seeing none, we will move right into items under finance, beginning with C-63. Mr. Chairman, are you ready to report?
I am. C-63, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests an appropriation of $60,000 be made to the police indemnification accounts, the same to be transferred from the excess and deficiency account. For public edification, the police indemnification account is, relatively speaking, a workers' compensation function of the city. When a police officer is injured on duty, they receive their regular pay, but their medical expenses are presented against this indemnification account and approved and paid from that. We never really quite know what the experience is going to be because it's not cast in stone what we're going to see in a particular fiscal year. This one has been a little bit more expensive than budgeted, so these monies are necessary in order to pay for injury medical expenses for our police officers. I'd ask that, I'm in favor of granting C-63. I'd ask you to check with members of my committee.
Councilor Cormier?
I agree.
Councilor Angelini?
I'm in favor as well.
Okay, so you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Finance Committee to grant C-63. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting C-63 signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, C-63 has been granted. Mr. Chairman, do you have an order?
Yes, order that the sum of $60,000 be appropriated to the police indemnification account, same to be transferred from the excess and deficiency account. Move for the adoption of the order.
You've heard the request of the adoption of the order. All those in favor of adopting the order, please signify by saying yea.
Yay.
Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, the order has been adopted for C-63. C-64, Mr. Chairman, you ready to report?
Yes, C-64, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requested an appropriation of $1 million be made to the street resurfacing expense account, the same to be transferred from the excess and deficiency account. We have a letter from the mayor that outlines the paving initiative for this fiscal year. They're utilizing funds, the $1 million that they're asking for this evening, which is coming from free cash. Chapter 90 money this year was $1,132,023, and they're putting in an additional $500,000 from ARPA funds for a total paving budget of $2,632,023. Attached to the request was the paving list, which was requested by a number of councilors at the next meeting. Pleased to report the city of Leominster being this aggressive on street maintenance. It really is a credit to the community to be able to do more, much more than just Chapter 90. And it would be my position enthusiastically, Mr. President, to grant C-64.
Councilor Cormier?
I enthusiastically agree.
Councilor Angelini?
I agree, and I'd just like to say that in front of Northwest School, the new pavement looks wonderful. We anticipate freshly painted crosswalks shortly. So I'm in favor as well, Mr. President.
Our constituents definitely agree. I know on Smith Street, too, I know somebody there in that neighborhood, they're very happy as well. So our constituents are very happy to see this kind of work happen. All right, so is there any other, so we have a unanimous recommendation to grant C-64. Is there any other discussion? Councilor Frida?
I enthusiastically agree as well that we put an extra $1 million. We've been doing that for quite some time now, and people do appreciate it. But I think there are a lot of questions as to, we know there's so many streets throughout the city that need to be repaired. We hear that all the time. I hear it as an at-large councilor from all over the city, and I know everybody else hears it as well, and ward councilors hear it from their own ward. But we have 4 and possibly 5 unaccepted streets on this list. And I think we need to, I'd like to have a meeting. I'll ask through the chair to the, I'm not even sure who it is, a city, that would be Councilor Brady, I think, to have Ray Racine come down and possibly Gordy, and just get an idea how these streets are chosen for pavement, repaving. I think it would be good to tell the public, because there are a lot of people asking questions about their streets. So I'd like to at least be a little transparent and tell people how they've been chosen.
I can chime in a little bit on
Councilor
that.
Bedanza?
As you may know, the city is precluded from paving unaccepted streets with Chapter 90 money. For many years, our paving revenue was limited to our Chapter 90 money, like most communities. Most communities only use their Chapter 90 money. So those
Not most,
unaccepted
but-
streets couldn't be paved by the city. As a result of a lot of fiscal management, good fiscal management, and funding the pension, we now have some revenue that we can put into things like this. And the mayor has, I've been lobbying him for years now on getting streets accepted. It's a big issue for ward councilors, and all of the councilors know how difficult that can be. There are some streets in progress for both by developers as well as the city to get them accepted, but in the end, they're still falling apart. And we still have taxpayers who are paying really just as much as anybody else in real estate taxes on those particular unaccepted ways. So the mayor's chosen to use some of this money that we can, in fact, use for unaccepted streets to pave them. As you know, we plow them, we do patchwork maintenance for safety purposes, but we've never, till now, been able to repave them. So that's what's been happening the last couple of years. This actually happened last year as well.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Councilor Frida?
And I don't disagree. And I know that we have many unaccepted streets, and many of them are in poor condition. But there are some people that have been asking for years to get their unaccepted streets paved, and they keep hearing that we don't pave unaccepted streets. So I think those people that are asking some of the questions deserve an answer as to how it's chosen. That's all I'm asking,
Yeah.
is to have the DPW come in here and tell us how they actually go through the list and determine which unaccepted street, or which street, and it doesn't have to be unaccepted,
Yeah.
which street actually gets on the list.
That's fine. I mean, I know they have a grading system. I mean, they just don't do it
Well,
willy-nilly.
And I think Gordy and Ray Racine can come in and tell us
That's fine.
that. And people, I'm glad you approve, Counselor, because I think there are,
I don't have to approve of it. It's
I'm
just- I
good,
just-
I'm glad you
I
don't
ju-
have to approve.
I
I'm
just think
asking-
it's not a bad
I'm asking to
idea.
have this, I have someone who's been asking me since 2016 for her street. And I brought it up every year to the DPW, and not on here, and apparently next year it'll happen. But there are some streets on here that I think are questionable, and I think I'd like to know how they're chosen, that's all. And I think it's a very simple question, it's transparency, and I will request that we, either a subcommittee meeting, or we do it before the next meeting, I don't know how we want to do it. I'll let the council president make that decision.
It's up to the chair, if he wants to have a subcommittee, or do you want to go with your recommendation? Councilor Brady?
I think she's suggesting it's a matter before property. I don't know.
Yeah,
She's
I'm just wanted to chime in because for my own edification, I did ask what the process is. And a lot of it is if there's any infrastructure that needs to be done under the
Correct.
road. And they put it out there to National Grid or, you know, gas or electric. And sometimes they give them 2 years' notice and don't find out. So and maybe for transparency, maybe we just do it. I just don't, I think there's so many variables. I don't know if it's just a checklist, like you're gonna be coming up in 3 years. It really depends on what street is the worst. I know it's not a lottery per wards. It's whatever street is in toughest shape.
I would just suggest if we do it, that we don't do it the next meeting. We have the budget coming up the next meeting. I don't think that's a good night for that. That's all.
Right. Councilor Shalfo Zephyr?
Thanks very much. You know, I agree that asking the DPW to come down and explain that, because I get questions all the time, and people, just to have them hear it from the people who are actually doing the
Right.
work and establishing the process, I think would be really helpful.
All right. Is there any other discussion on C-64? Seeing none, the recommendation on the floor from the Finance Committee is to grant. I will now, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of granting C-64 signify in usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, C-64 has been granted. Does the chairman have an order?
Yes, order that the sum of $1 million be appropriated to the street resurfacing expense account, same to be transferred from the excess and deficiency account. Move for the adoption of the order.
You've heard the request for the adoption of the order. All those in favor of adopting the order signify by saying yea.
Yay.
Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, the order for C-64 has been adopted. Moving on to C-65. Mr. Chairman of Finance, you ready to report?
One moment. C-65, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests an appropriation of $250,000 be made to the Police Department overtime account, the same to be transferred from the excess and deficiency account.
Let me look. Maybe I do.
This was a letter from the mayor dated April 19th, 2023, requesting this appropriation, and there was a letter from the chief of police, allegedly, that accompanied it, which was not in my packet.
I'm looking for it, too. Is this, hold on.
C-65.
I thought I
It's
did too.
overtime.
Yeah, I don't
I don't have it.
think I've seen one for this.
There may not be one. I don't know.
I don't,
I don't think there is one.
I don't remember reading one.
Peter has.
He's got one?
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, no, you have the mayor's letter. There's, it refers
I
to,
don't remember seeing one.
maybe there isn't one. Okay. It does have a supplemental request from the department head, which demonstrates that the total budget for overtime for the fiscal year was $412,500. The balance in the account to date, $96,146. And they were requesting $250,000 to get through the rest of the year. The date of the supplemental request was April 19th, which is a number of weeks ago now. So I'm guessing the $96,000 is either gone or close to gone. So obviously, the department's not going to make it through the fiscal year with what's left in the account. So it does refer to see attached letter. I mean, I can pretty much write that letter right now in my head. I mean, I know they're down guys, and, you know, we obviously someone's hurt because we had to appropriate money to the indemnification account, which means they don't have enough people, which means it's stressing the overtime account. I'd be in favor of granting C-65. I'd ask you to check with members of my committee.
Councilor Cormier?
I agree.
Councilor Angelini?
I'm in agreement as well, Mr. President.
Okay, you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Finance Committee to grant C-65. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting C-65 signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, C-65 has been granted. Does the chairman have an order?
Order that the sum of $250,000 be appropriated to the police department overtime account, same amount be transferred from the excess and deficiency account. Move for the adoption of the order.
You've heard the request for the adoption of the order. All those in favor of adopting the order signify by saying yea.
Yay.
Yay.
Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, the order for C-65 has been adopted. Moving on to the item under Public Service, 40-23. Madam Chairwoman, are you ready to report?
I am. Petition 40-23. Massachusetts Electric Company, DBA National Grid, requests permission to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures along and across
I'm going to move that
the
we
following
skip the
public
reading.
way.
I mean, if no one has any objection, we've already read this once tonight.
To waive the reading. Is there any objection?
I object. I'm just
Okay.
going to, I want to read the description of the street, just
So
in
be it.
case,
Okay.
in case people who are interested in this didn't follow the public hearing. Spruce Street, National Grid to install one solely owned pole on Spruce Street, beginning at a point approximately 450 feet west of the center line of the intersection of Whitney Street and continuing approximately 20 feet south in a south direction. Install pole number 4-5 approximately 50 feet west of pole number 4 for a new transformer bank to temporarily feed 31 Spruce Street. We did have a public hearing earlier this evening. There was a representative who came from National Grid, and he answered a few questions. We do have the referral back from the DPW that I will read into the record regarding petition 40-23. Dear Caitlin, the Leominster Department of Public Works has reviewed the petition to install a pole on Spruce Street and offers the following comments. The DPW approves the petition as submitted. Please let us know if you have any questions. Sincerely, Raymond Racine, DPW Director. So that's good. So after the public hearing, we close the public hearing, not having any questions from the audience or anybody speaking against this. There are some questions, though, that I would like to have the clerk address. As was noted, that this is a temporary installation of both the pole and the transformers. So I would like the clerk to please write to National Grid, because we do want them to estimate, what is temporary in this case. They must have an idea. And then also, I would like to be notified, or have the city council notified, when the transformers are being removed, so that we can make sure that the transformers as well as the pole, which the National Grid representative stated, that would be removed as well. And once we, so that information I think is very important. So my recommendation would be to approve 40-23, and I would ask that you pull my committee, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilor Frida
I'm good, thank you.
and Councilor Brady. Okay, so you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Public Service Committee to grant 40-23. Is there any discussion? Councilor Angelini.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just, if I may, to the chairwoman,
Certainly.
the gentleman from National Grid did say that the temporary situation is a result of the customer. So the customer will be the one to decide. So the National Grid really doesn't have, I don't think, an idea when the customer wants to terminate the temporary service. I suspect they're waiting for a transformer because the lead time is way out there. So I don't think that National Grid will be able to provide you with that answer because it is the customer's call. So and he did say that tonight, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Okay. I still think we can ask National Grid, if they're servicing the customer, I mean, they can ask the customer, because they would have to plan to take that stuff down as well. So, because they'll take the transformers down at some point, so they should know that, I guess, or have an idea of what that is for their own scheduling work to take that down and remove the pole. So I'd like to ask the question and get, information that, as good as we can get. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other discussion on 40-23? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting 40-23 signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, 40-23 has been granted. Moving on to items under Ways and Means, 37-23. Madam Chairwoman, are you ready to report?
I am, Mr. President. 37-23, Christopher Revard requests to renew transient vendor license. This was given regular course on the last date. I can tell you that we were informed that Mr. Revard is one of the few people who actually files his application for his transient vendor license every year. He's done it again this year. Everything is in good standing, and it would be my position to grant his vendor license. And I'd ask you to poll the members of my committee.
Counselor Arndinger?
I agree.
Counselor Shalfo Zephyr?
I agree.
Okay, you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Ways and Means Committee to grant 37-23. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting 37-23 signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, 37-23 has been granted. 38-23, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Mr. President. 38-23, North Central Mass Launch LLC, doing business as Launch Leominster, request a bowling alley license for Launch Leominster, 118 Commercial Road, Leominster, Mass. We had a public hearing earlier, and as discussed earlier, we're going to leave that public hearing open. We are going to establish a new public hearing on May 22nd, 2023 at 6:25, and we are going to send out a referral to the, I believe we said the building department, the building inspector. So that would be my position, Mr. President, asked to continue the public hearing, schedule the new date with those referrals,
And give this further time.
give this further time.
Counselor Arndinger?
I agree.
Counselor Shalfo Zephyr?
I agree.
Okay, so you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Ways.
Sorry, just a quick question. I know you did the referral to the building inspector, but weren't we going to ask why the occupancy permit was issued?
We
Yeah,
can
that'll
forward
be
that
part of
question
it.
along.
Part of it.
That'll be
Great.
part of
Thank
his,
you.
we'll ask that as part of his recommendation. He'll give us that answer, yeah.
Thank you for the
Okay.
reminder.
So you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Ways and Means Committee to give further time to 38-23 and establish a public hearing, or a continuance of the public hearing to May 22nd, 2023 at 6:25 PM. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of giving further time and establishing that public hearing, please signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0. Further time has been given, and the public hearing is May 22nd, 2023 at 6:25 PM. 39-23, Madam Chairwoman.
39-23, Sterling Jewelers, Inc., doing business as K Jewelers, number 1285, request to renew license to deal secondhand articles, 100 Commercial Road, Leominster, Mass. Again, this was given regular course on the last date. I can tell you I've reviewed the application and the letters of good standing from the treasurer's office, from the police department, as well as their certificate of liability insurance and their application to the state. I find it all to be in good order, and it would be my position to grant to renew the license, and I'd ask you to check with members of my committee.
Okay, Counselor Arndinger.
I agree.
Counselor Shalfo Zephyr.
I agree.
Okay, so you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Ways and Means Committee to grant 39-23. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting 39-23, please signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, 39-23 has been granted. And the final Ways and Means item, 41-23.
41-23, Entertainment Cinemas, Leominster, LLC. Request to renew theater license located at 45 Sac Boulevard in Leominster, Mass. Again, this was given regular course on the last date. I've reviewed the application. The application is filled in and complete, and they have a letter of good standing from the police department. And I don't see that from the treasurers. Do we have that one as well? I believe it
The
might have been.
treasurer signed off on that.
Thank you. I thought that was with the original packet.
Yeah.
So their packet is, in their renewal application is in good order. It would be my recommendation that we grant and we renew their license.
Okay, and Counselor Arndinger.
I agree, but I have a question. As I looked at this application, it says Sunday through Monday. That's one day. Is that a clerical error, or is it worth bringing up? You know, it does say Sunday through Monday.
Should have it.
Sunday through Monday, entertainment list of hours, 11 a.m.
Yeah.
through
It's probably reversed.
Monday
I think it's
through Sunday.
probably reversed, but is that important to?
It must be on this.
Oh, that's on the application.
Huh?
Yes.
That's printed right on the application, right? Sunday through Monday entertainment list of hours.
So I think that's just a correction we can make to the application.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that it affects,
Yeah, it won't affect their hours. For them personally, I can adjust that. And I'll double check it with the law too. That should be your reference.
Okay, so in the meantime, Counselor Arndt, are you okay with granting this? And
Yes, I
and
agree.
The clerk will just clarify,
Yeah.
their operation and make sure it's on file in her office correctly.
Okay.
Okay, and Counselor Shalfo Zephyr?
So this, it looks like it's our mistake because it's on the form. That's not anything that they put in there, right? This is our application for an entertainment license.
Yeah, I'll review it. It's the same
Okay.
application we've used for a really long time, so I'll go see why it originally ended up like that, and I'll go
Right.
double check it and update it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any other discussion on 41 dash, so Counselor Shalfo, are you okay as well with
I'm fine.
granting?
Yep.
Okay, all right, so there's a unanimous recommendation from the Ways and Means Committee to grant 41-23. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting 41-23 signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, 41-23 has been granted. And we have one appointment. Is the Chairwoman of Ways and Means ready to report?
I am, Mr. President. This is actually a reappointment, so we don't normally have them in for an interview. This is the Historical Commission, term to expire 4/15/2026, Rocco Palmieri of 20 Haynes Court in Leominster. Be my position to grant the reappointment of Mr. Palmieri.
Counselor Arndt? I agree. And Counselor Shalfo Zephyr?
I agree as well.
And you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Ways and Means Committee to grant the appointment, or confirm confirm the reappointment of Rocco Palmieri to the Historical Commission. Is there any discussion? Counselor Frida?
Yeah, not a discussion, just a comment. It's nice to see people that are reappointed that are so dedicated. Rocco is at everything, taking pictures at everything, and really takes his job seriously, so it's nice to, it's a pleasure to reappoint him, confirm him.
I agree. Okay, is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of confirming the reappointment of Rocco Palmieri to the Historic Commission signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, the reappointment has been confirmed. Moving on to items under new business, there are a few items, a few first readings of an ordinance, and we will begin with the first reading of an ordinance, which was formally petition C-60. Mr. Chairman of Legal Affairs, are you ready to report?
I am indeed. C-60 is Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests an amendment to the non-union employees' salary and wage scale for fiscal year 2024 with the attached scale. Also, please amend the ordinance to non-union positions and classifications based on the support attached. I checked with the clerk, and once again, KP Law has not returned it in ordinance form. So therefore, I'm going to ask for further time on this. And obviously, we want to follow up with them because the clock is ticking. We certainly don't want to have to re-advertise this, and so hopefully they'll get it to us pronto.
The last time I spoke with Brian, he was looking for the Word format of the original petition. So I referenced him to the mayor's office and comptroller's office, and I haven't heard from him since, and that was Friday when I reminded him about it. So hopefully soon.
I appreciate it. Perhaps you could send a re-reminder tomorrow.
Yeah,
Thank
just to
you.
make sure, because this is getting time sensitive at this point. And Counselor Bedanza, are you okay with that as well?
Sure.
Further time, and Counselor Deacon.
I'm in agreement.
Okay, so you've heard the unanimous recommendation to give the first reading of this ordinance, which is formally petition C-60, further time. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of giving this further time signify in the usual manner. Those opposed, by a vote of 9-0, this first reading of an ordinance has been given further time. Moving on to the second first reading that we have of an ordinance on our agenda, which is formally petition 35-23. Mr. Chairman, are you ready to report?
I am happy to report that we do have these back in ordinance form from KP Law. 3523, an ordinance, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Leominster as follows, amending Chapter 14 of the revised ordinances entitled Offenses Miscellaneous. Chapter 14 entitled Offenses Miscellaneous is hereby amended by inserting the following new section. Section 14-22, Sale of Firearms, Rifles, Shotguns, Machine Guns, and Ammunition by Gun Shops, Prohibitions and Requirements. No permit or certificate shall be issued for a business entity engaged in the commercial sale or transfer of firearms or ammunition or engage in gunsmithing without first obtaining the required license or licenses from the Chief of Police. A, prohibitions. 1, gun shops may not be located, A, within 1,000 feet of a school, library, or museum, or B, within 1,000 feet of each other. B, requirements. 1, gun shops are required to, A, have and maintain an alarm system and monitoring service that will provide positive notifications to the Leominster Police Department of unauthorized access when no employees are present or during emergency situations. The alarm system, at a minimum, shall cover all doors, windows, and have at least one appropriately placed panic button for emergency purposes, other than on the alarm panel itself. Mr. President, I would recommend that we adopt this first reading of 3523, and I would ask you to check with members of the Legal Affairs Committee.
Council Bonanza.
I'm in favor.
Council Deacon.
I'm in favor.
Okay, you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Legal Affairs Committee to adopt the first reading of this ordinance, which is formally petition 35-23. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to do this in a roll call vote, beginning with Council Bonanza.
Yay.
Council Cormier.
Yay.
Council Arger.
Yay.
Council Angelini.
Yay.
Council Brady.
Yay.
Council Shalfo Zephyr.
Yay.
Council Deacon.
Yay.
Council Frida.
Yay.
And I will be recorded as yay by a vote of 9-0. The first reading of this ordinance, formally petition 35-23, has been adopted. Moving on to the third first reading of an ordinance that we have on our agenda tonight under new business, which was formally petition 36-23. Mr. Chairman, you ready to report?
I am indeed, Mr. President. Thank you. 3523, this is an ordinance. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Leominster as follows, amending Chapter 14 of the revised ordinances entitled Offenses Miscellaneous. Chapter 14, entitled Offenses Miscellaneous, is hereby amended by inserting the following new section. Section 14-22, Sale of Firearms, Rifles, Shotguns, Machine Guns, and Ammunition by Gun Shops, Prohibitions and Requirements. No permit or certificate shall be issued for a business entity to engage in the commercial sale or transfer of firearms or ammunition, or engage in gunsmithing without first obtaining a license from the Chief of Police. Uh-oh.
No,
I
yeah.
think I'm reading
You
I'm
are.
reading the same ordinance. I knew it sounded familiar.
Yep, it did.
All right, let's try this again, Mr. President. 3623, this is a short one, so. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Leominster as follows, amending Chapter 11 of the revised ordinance entitled Junk and Secondhand Dealers. Chapter 11 entitled Junk and Secondhand Dealers is hereby amended by inserting the following new sections. Section 11-7.1, Firearm Prohibited. No pawnbroker shall loan money secured by deposit or pledge of a firearm, rifle, shotgun, machine gun, ammunition, gunpowder, or any accessory thereof. No pawnbroker shall hold a license to sell, rent, or lease a firearm, rifle, shotgun, or machine gun. And I thank the band for that background music. I would certainly recommend adopting first reading of this ordinance, and I would ask you to check with members of my committee.
Counselor Pedanza.
Good?
And Counselor Deacon.
Yes, and I'd just like to comment that this was great work by Chief Kennedy and Captain Freya. These things can get a little sticky every now and then, and with the new laws and everything that's happening, I think they just reinforced us as a city and moved us in the right direction, so I want to thank them again for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was going to mention that as well, that this was certainly a lot of work. It basically came to us in ordinance form. They worked with KP Law to make sure that, you know, they did all their due diligence. I know they've been working on this for a while. It's important stuff, so I echo those sentiments. So we have a unanimous recommendation to adopt the first reading of this ordinance, which is formally 36-23. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to do this in a roll call vote, beginning with Counsel Pedanza.
Yay?
Counsel Cormier.
Yay.
Counsel Arger.
Yay.
Counsel Angelini.
Yay.
Counsel Brady.
Yay.
Counsel Shalfo Zephyr.
Yay.
Counsel Deacon.
Yay.
Counsel Frida.
Yay.
And I will be recorded as yay by a vote of 9-0. The first reading of this ordinance, which is formally petition 36-23, has also been adopted. Is there any other new business? Any old business? Counsel Frida.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention again and I know many of you were there, the dog tag display in the form of a flag. But I wanted to specifically mention Friday, the day before. I was there a good part of the day when it was actually delivered, and the procession was absolutely incredible with the support of American Legion Motorcycle Club. But I think one of the most important things is it came in pieces, and our Center for Technical Education class was there with their teacher and actually helped assemble the flag. And I think, looking at the expression on the kids' faces, I think they could really understand what it was for and what it was about. And just a credit to the kids that were there. They were done and they polished it all to get fingerprints off. They did such an incredible job. And certainly to Joe Fermani and Diane Bedoin for making it a reality and just an incredible day. It was, and the rain held off until after it was all done. So
It definitely was very, very moving, beautiful, you know, thing that was put together. So I echo those sentiments as well. Is there anything else under old business? We have a couple, excuse me, we have a couple of items into the community calendar. The first one is a Medal of Fidelity, May 11th, 2023. I just, very quickly, I know we got a communication here from Richard Votor on April 20th. We will be hosting the Massachusetts Army National Guard Medal of Fidelity ceremony at the Leominster Veterans Center. The Medal of Fidelity is presented to surviving spouses of veterans that died of a disease relating from their military service. We have 13 surviving spouses invited. We have about 30 more, but those applications are still pending. So we will be doing another ceremony in the future. The date is May 11th, 2023 at 6 p.m. at the Leominster Veterans Center, 100 West Street, and all are invited to attend. If there's any further questions, that came from Rick Votor, our Veterans Director, so I would ask you to give him a call with any other questions. Does anybody else have any discussion on that? It's on the agenda. Okay, the second bullet is Memorial Day ceremonies. I do not believe we got an exact agenda yet, but I can tell you that from past experience on Friday evening, which would be May 26th, we have a White Cross ceremony at the Veterans Center on 100 West Street. Usually the Cub Scouts place flags on veterans' graves at all the cemeteries on Saturday morning. So if you have any questions about that and are interested to know more about it, I would suggest you contact Rick Votor. And then on Monday, starting I think around 8 in the morning, if I'm not mistaken, we will gather on the Common here in Monument Square. and we will travel to all the cemeteries, ending at Carter Park, with a parade that starts at Evergreen roughly around 10:30 in the morning. But I'm sure that between now and our next meeting, we will get the entire lineup of all of the Memorial Day exercises, and we'll read those at our next meeting. So I'd ask that we keep this on the agenda so we can, does anybody have any other comment on Memorial Day? Seeing none, is there anything else to come under the community calendar? Anything else fun going on? Okay, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Councilor Shalfo-Zephyr, any second? Councilor Angelini. All those in favor of adjournment signify in usual manner. Those opposed by a vote of 9-0. We are now adjourned. Thank you all very much.
The Leominster City Council meeting is funded in part by DeCarolis Insurance Agency at www.decarolisinsuranceagency.com and by Avidia Bank at www.avidiabank.com.